It's always when I see them. I got all the cars. Dang, all the cars are gone. That's crazy. They removed all the cars. That's the only bad thing. They removed all the cars. That's sad. It's okay. They're not OG. Yo, I know when you landed. That's why I put a drum gun. I guess 1 second. Don't you love me, baby? Need to know. There's lots of kids over there, so I have to be prepared. Hey, man. I'm just pushing this guys, so they're going to be using umbrella for Democrat race for the White House. Goes to voters. And this one says corporations are poisoning our children. We must choose to love our children more than we hate each other. Vote for Donald Trump, November 5th. Make America healthy again. United States election example. The two assassination attempts at late-breaking candidates in the war in the Midwest border elections. Dire predictions of dictatorship, death threats against election workers, all of it sitting atop an economy that almost no one feels is going to display record stock. In multi-billion world president race, no one could have predicted a pressure cooker of stress and anxiety and fear, supercharged by taking head television, social media memes, culture memes, and reality endorsements. USA Today interviewed dozens of voters across the country to sample the footing of the country faces a nail biter over the secret between former President Donald Trump and Republican nominee and Vice President Kamala Harris. Then the Democrat. Okay. So everybody's on edge from day to day now to election day, said Arkansas resident and Trump voter Lavia Henson, 64. In Georgia, landscaper Garmin Sweat worried a second Trump president would mean his transgender relatives might be attacked. In Michigan, Emily Gregory, 42, fears her oldest daughter won't be able to find a job if Harris wins, even if a voter for Trump means she loses abortion access. In Rye, North Carolina, Allen says he is considering carrying a gun for protection should Trump again refuse to accept a loss. And in California, Joyce Lucas, 76, is holding her breath. She's going to vote for Trump, and while she and her husband have concerns about his approach to Ukraine and Gaza, how he conducts himself, she says the economy is just too important to risk others 4 years of liberty policy. I see it all the time. People are terrified. They are stressed, overly stressed, said Dr. Aridsha Vimba, founding director of the Stress, Trauma, and Anxiety Research Clinic at Wayne State University's Schools of Medicine in Detroit, and politicians keep saying this is the scariest time of your life. Javanik Pick specials in anxiety treatment, and CE has seen a notable increase in people seeking help as the campaign to see. It's easy to see why Trump's frequency paints a dire picture of the country's future, warning voters that he only can save the United States from ruin. His supporters say they're being crushed by the high cost of living and that Trump is the leading anonymous leader, injured by what they say are large flow of immigrants in recent years. Trump supporters say the former president's vow to deport people living legally in the U.S. is a strong first step in protecting the things that make America special. They also cite his efforts to abortion access and dramatically downsize the federal government to reduce spending while also suffering even more oil and gas drilling to bring down energy costs and promises of more tax cuts, and they support his efforts to punish China with high tariffs and his peace through strange approach to the national defense. We're in such a horrible mess right now. Now, I think that he's the one that can pull us out of it for my kids and my grandkids, said Jennifer Wilson, 47, and unguarded voter and Trump supporter. Harris supporters see a second Trump president as a threat to democracy after a mob of his voters stormed the U.S. Capitol and tried to stop the certificate of President Joe Biden win in 2020. They can't understand how anyone could vote for a convicted felony or someone they say is so disrespectful to women. They fear his plan to forcibly deport millions of people legally in the U.S. and are angry he has granted Supreme Court justice who ended the federal right to an abortion. They worried about a possible loss of access to birth control, and they say they're willing to pay higher prices for goods and set vices if it means protecting the Earth's climate. But they also say Harris, as a woman of Black and Southeast Asian heritage provides an important sense of hope and forward-looking optimism, and a candidate who wants to expand protections and rights for all Americans. Many say the reviewed Biden withdrew from the race, a shocking decision that reshaped the election. Harris is amazing, said Sandra McDonald, 61 of Nashville, teens, Tennessee. Put aside that she's black and Asian and a woman, put that aside, she's a bright, artistic candidate. I'll still read it. Long gone are the days of polite presidential debates and compliments by the candidates about their opponents. Instead, Trump and Harris backers have drawn battle lines and are preparing for the worst, singling insults on Facebook. Sharing the last, can you believe that they said that video clips and arguing with relatives. Above all, they remain misfilled how anyone could vote for the other candidate. Kelly Love, an independent voter in Louisville, Kentucky, said she will vote for Harris and worries what a Trump would mean for her personality and how the country will react a Trump defeat. I think I'm included in the future that he sees. Love said, I just don't foresee him being able to say, okay, I lose. It's very scary. Okay, I lost. It's very scary. But James Miller, Florida from Massachusetts, Cape Cod, Virgin, says he remembers things being better under Trump. When he voted for in 2020, Nick Morrell says he's working hard than ever to afford the cost of living, and he believes Trump will improve the economy. And I still get paid, same, and everything else is more expensive, Nick Morrell said. He's been president before, so I'm hoping it will go as well as it did last time. That's my reasoning. Local echoed that I just can't vote for another 4 years of what we've had. Even though we may not like Trump as a person because of our economy and what we've gone through the last 4 years, we can't do this again, she said. What bothers me is that so many people said they're voting because of abortion rights, when it affects so little of the population, but the economy and immigration affects all of us. Cleveland area Representative Barbara Barlow, 51, says that precisely why she's voting for her is the fact that she doesn't want to take away all our rights and send us back 100 years. That's pretty complimented to me, said Allen, the rally president. If somebody takes rights away from you, that's like taking away your life. That's not fair. In interviews, many voters say they feel their votes are reflected in the candidates. Others say they have a hard time choosing a future for their country. Arizona Electric and Mike Milley, 23, said that while gas prices and immigration are among his top concerns, he worries about the potential fracturing of the U.S. and he's supporting Trump again. Milley says he believes Trump won the 2020 election and that rich people decide who will be president. It's just putting the timer back up on the time bomb rather than disarming it. I think it's just extended, Milley said. Something big is going to happen either way. Harris voters often cite fears that Trump will ignore the Constitution and use electoral means to target his enemies. In the January 6, 2021 attempted insurrection by Trump supporters feels like a dangerous example of the risk they said. We're keeping our fingers crossed that, and now that there's no violence, said Bernie Butler of Nashville, who voted for Harris. Of course, not every voter sees this election as one of the highest stakes elections the United States has ever made. California Democrat David Pence 25 said he might skip voting. It doesn't matter who you vote for because these are still going to have to get done at the end of the day. We are still the USA, so no matter who is in office, things won't really change. He said. Nashville voter Ben 35 says he hopes America will put the difference behind them. Once the voters are counted, he didn't want to identify for when he voted. It's going to be what it is, McPhee said. Well, when it's all said and done, let's move on and hopefully get the crowd rolling in the same direction and quit moving in separate directions. Yeah, it won't really change. The world won't really change. It'll be probably the same, but if Trump is president, taxes will be lower and stuff, For those exhausted by the election, there is some good news. No matter what the end of the presidential cycle means, applause to hit the advertisements. The advertisements get me so mad. Like, they pop up all the time. Campaign emails and fundraising text messages that means a chance to deal back that anxiety by dealing back your mental compassion. Janabek said the patients he threats often say they watch hours of cable TV a day. He tries to assure them that things are really as bad as they think. That things are really as bad as they think. He says there's a difference between acknowledging political difference and obsessing over them. I don't recommend that you be ignorant, but you want to reduce your exposure to the source of negativity. If you eat garbage all day, your stomach is gonna feel terrible. When you cut down on cable news exposure, you get better. I tell my patients every time they are sitting there stewing, ask yourself, what good are you doing for yourself? May go take a walk. I hate the advertisements. They get me mad because sometimes for no reason, you just turn on, like probably during the best moments, they just turn on. Kelly, and what happens? Okay, what happens to ballots after Election Day? Many voters will cast their ballots Tuesday for the next president of the United States, though some already have done so early voting or mail-in ballots, as available in some states. In a year life with election misinformation and distrust is in the voting process, it is helpful to understand what happens to your ballot after you cast your vote. In-person hand-marked ballots are either run through a scanner at a polling place collected to be scanned at a central location or manually counted. A small percentage of voters cast their votes using a direct record electronic voting machine, which electronically store the voters' selections. Either way, the paper ballots or paper records of electronic votings are collected in secure boxes or envelopes after they have been cast. Any electronic results stored on a memory device, physical result tapes, or circularly transported to a central election center. After ballots are returned by mail or dropped off at a designated location, they must first be processed by an election worker before counted. The process varies by state, but generally involves confirming the identity and electioning of the voter, verifying the voter's information to confirm they are registered and eligible to vote, and confirming the signature on the ballot matches as the signature on file according to Brennan Center for Justice. This information is written on printed on an outer envelope. After confirming the information, the envelope is opened and separated from the ballot to preserve the security of the voter's ballot. The whole processing produces takes place at a central counting facility of a polling place. The ballots are then counted either by hand or by machine scanners. The timeline of when election officials are allowed to start counting mail ballots after votes have been cast, election official comparable vote counts are from all into a single final vote. For the arena, this process is called an election. Game is often electronic. Scanners will read in person by mail votes to record totals. Of officials also inspect returns to ensure that consonant with the number of voters who checked in at a polling place or other data points. In some cases, ballots may be counted again during a recount or review. During an adult, there are also processes around provisional ballots and cures, or when voters can fix certain ballot errors, like a missing signature. Even after results have been certified, there are no more recounts or audits. Your ballot isn't thrown away instead as required by federal law. Ballots remain in a secure area for 22 months. In some places, they will stay there for even longer. After that, election officials destroy the ballots. However, electronic records are maintained. Okay, I'm done reading, bro. Actually, I want to read one more. 8 days to know from election to December 11th. Every state appoints a certain number of individuals called electors who will case the electoral voters for president and vice president state parties. Choose a slate of national electors before the general election following general requirements set by the Constitution and federal laws as well as any producers set by the respective state. Then voters select electors by voting in the general state. Electors pledge to vote to the statewide or district popular the vote. The elective of each state must issue a certificate of instrument naming and appointing these individuals no longer than December 11th. The certificates include the names of the electors, the state certified election results, the seal of state, and at least on one security future set by the state. Second Wednesday in December, meet in their respective states to cast their votes for president and vice president. Then they transmit and sign their endorsed certificates attesting to their votes to in Washington, D.C. and their state. The president of the Senate or the offices of the United States should receive the certificates from the electors on the certificates from the electors on the fourth Wednesday in December. If they do not receive the certificates by the state, they will request them from the chief election officers of the state or states. Representative-elect and seniors-elect will be sworn into the new Congress. This process happens every 2 years on this date. Following federal elections in the House of Representatives, this is also the day that the new speaker will be elected. It's not just a 4-year joint session starting in the early afternoon. The U.S. Congress named President decide over the receiving and counting of electoral ballots, casing presidential elections, and announced the result of counts. People will fill the national mall in Washington to watch the They will take representative oaths of office at the Capitol starting at noon EST after they've been sworn in. The transfer of power for former affirmation to the new affirmation is complete. Okay, so hope you like my video and goodbye. I'm gonna read another one, but I'm not reading it now. because my freaking mouth hurts because I read so much. I'm out of breath too, but yeah. Hope you look at my video and see you guys in the next one. But let me see this one. This is what it was about. Key days to reform to organization. President, Vice President Kamala Harris or former President Donald Trump will become president, while many states, including California, Minnesota, Nebraska, have some form of early voting. Tuesday is the last day to cast votes in the 2024 presidential election, including in-person and mail-in ballots. Depending on the state, mail-in ballots must be either postmarked by election day or received on election day. Counting the votes and certifying the results can take days or even weeks. Here's a rundown of some other important dates between now and the presidential inauguration. Okay, I hope you liked my video, and bye.